Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me. Today I have a very exciting new two-part series that I am going to be doing for October. Woohoo! Spooky month. We love Halloween in this house. Our house is pretty much completely decorated for the month of October, and my roommates and I, we really go all out. I mean, it's mostly me that goes all out, but we go all out here. I love Halloween. It is my favorite holiday. As you can tell, I have some fun spooky decorations out. My house is pretty much decorated outside. We still have a couple random things that are not completely done, but for the most part, we're pretty much decorated. I mean, I still have to go pick up some candy and a couple other random things. Like we have lawn bags that look like pumpkins that we just have to fill with leaves. So today I thought that we would have a very fun new series. Let's talk about wicked plants. Wicked plants, woo! I did get this wonderful book. I love this book. This is not a sponsor or anything. I just am genuinely a big book reader, and I have a lot. As you can see, that's just like one of my bookshelves. There's another one right here that has some books on it, and then I just have a lot of books, and I like to read about a lot of things. I have a lot of fiction, a lot of nonfiction, so basically I like to read about everything. But my recent favorite hobby is to read about plants, and so I've recently got this book. I shouldn't say recently, I've had it for a few months, but it is called Wicked Plants, the Weed That Killed Lincoln's Mother and Other Botanical Atrocities. So we are going to kind of just digest a little bit, talk about some wicked plants, some wicked spooky scary plants, some wicked spooky scary killer plants, ooh, even better. I've decided to make this video series a two-parter because there are just so many plants in this book, and I probably could make this like a six-parter because it's like 230 pages. So there's quite a bit of knowledge in this book, and it talks about all about plants from the level of like intoxicating, illegal, dangerous, destructive, deadly. So it has lots of really good stuff in here. A lot of plants that are like wild. It tells you where their natural habitat is, where they can be found, things like that. There are sometimes some funny stories, so I'll probably read a little bit of some funny stories for you guys too. But this is a fantastic book. I highly recommend it. I can't talk about it enough. I love it so much. So let's get into Wicked Plants Part 1. All right, our first plant. Here is what's great about these books is that they have pictures so that you can kind of help identify them, which is fantastic because sometimes people have hard times, as we'll note in this book, that they have hard times identifying plants. So the first plant we're going to talk about is Argonite. I'll put that here. I'm going to put its botanical name. We're going to just start it out as Deadly. We're just going to start out with Deadly. I love this. In 1856, a dinner party in the Scottish village of Dingwall came to a horrible end. A servant had been sent outside to dig up some horseradish, but instead he uprooted aconite, and the cook, failing to recognize that she had been handed the wrong ingredient, grated it into a sauce for the roast and promptly killed two priests who were guests at the dinner. Other guests were sickened, but they survived. But it can be mistaken for an edible herb. All parts of the plant are extremely toxic, so that's super fun. Some other very fun common names for oh my god, Argonite. I probably should have picked a plant that I can say. Would be wolfsbane, monkshoot, and leopard's bane is another one for it. So basically, this is a poisonous plant. The poison is an alkaloid that contains aconite, and it paralyzes the nerves, lowers the blood pressure, and eventually stops your heart. So, in Greek mythology, deadly aconite sprang from the spits of the three-headed hound Cerberus as Hercules dragged it out of Hades. Legend has it that it got another one of its common names, wolfbane, because ancient Greek hunters used it as bait and arrow poison to hunt wolves. Here we go. Number 1 deadly plant. Number 2 on this list is betel nut. It is intoxicating. So the betel nut palm rises gracefully to over 30 feet tall. That's really freaking tall. It has a slim dark green trunk, sports glossy dark leaves, and produces lovely white flowers that perfume in the tropical breeze. So basically, this palm is also responsible for an addictive stimulant that turns teeth black and saliva red. So, customs of chewing betel nut date back over to thousands of years. The betel nut is stashed between the cheek and the gum and is usually mixed with something to give it a little extra kick. This packet of leaf and nut, often called a quid, it has a bitter, peppery taste. It releases alkaloids similar to nicotine. Users use it to get an energy boost, a mild high, and more saliva than they know what to do with. There's only one way to handle the constant flow of red saliva from your mouth, and that's to spit it out. So, if you swallow it, it causes nausea. So, it's common to just spit it out. In countries where betel nut is very common, the sidewalks are stained red with red saliva. So, that's fun. The betel nut is enjoyed throughout India, Vietnam, Papua New Guinea, China, and Taiwan, where the government is trying to crack down on betel nut beauties. Splendidly clad women who sit on the roadside stands and they sell their product to truck drivers. So, okay, number 3 on the list is probably one that you have heard of. Deadly nightshade. Ooh, wicked. Wicked. So deadly nightshade. It is, guess what? Deadly. Yes. Professor and plant researcher Henry G. Walters speculated in 1915 about the potential of crossbreeding carnivorous plants and poisonous plants. He believed that if a poisonous plant had the semi-muscular system possessed by the carnivorous plant, it would be more dangerous than the cochlear. Dr. Walters declared that the plants were capable of love and that if they had memories, implying that they also could hold a grudge, as lovers do. The deadly nightshade, he believed, was filled with hatred. The plant of hate. Although the entire plant is poisonous, just rubbing up against it with your skin can cause pustules. The black berries on the plant are the most tempting feature. A couple earned their place in medical history by baking a pie of nightshade berries by mistaking them for more edible berries. Deadly nightshade performs its dark magic with the help of an alkaloid called atropine, which causes rapid heart rate, confusion, hallucinations, and seizures. The symptoms are so unpleasant that the atropine is sometimes added to potentially addictive painkillers to keep patients from getting hooked. That's wild. Medical students memorize the simple mnemonic trick to help them recognize the signs of poisoning. Hot as a hare, blind as a bat, dry as a bone, red as a beet, and mad as a hatter. Madness, in this case, refers to meaningless speech as a sign of deadly nightshade poisoning. So that's nightshade. Woo! Love it, nightshade. Number 4 on the list is ergot. And ergot is intoxicating. Ooh. Historians still wonder what caused the bizarre behavior that led 8 young girls to be suspected of demonic possessions and witchcraft during the winter of 1691 in Salem, Massachusetts. One girl after another went into convulsions, babbled incoherently, and complained of creepy skin sensations. Doctors could find nothing wrong with them. And the best explanation medical science had to offer was that a witch had cast a spell over these girls. put a spell on you. Ergot is a parasital fungus that attaches itself to a flowering cereal grass like rye or wheat. So these girls could have probably just ingested it from like a piece of bread. It flourishes in damp conditions and possesses the special trick of being able to mimic the very grain it has infected. Million of ergot spores can be harvested right along with rye or wheat crops. And if the bread produced with the grain can contain enough of the certain fungus, it can infect whoever eats it. So, including some young girls who lived in Salem during a particularly damp winter. Records going back to the Middle Ages show that from time to time the entire village would succumb to mystery illnesses. Villagers would dance in the street, go into convulsions, and eventually collapse. This dancing mania was sometimes referred to as St. Anthony's Fire, a possible reference to the awful burning sensation that the victims felt. And eventually, gangrenous blisters and peeling skin would appear. Even livestock were not safe. When cows were fed the infected grain, they lost their hooves, tails, and even their ears before they died. So, it is entirely impossible that the whole event was caused by an outbreak of ergot. Crazy. But just so you know that outbreaks in ergot are rare today, but a few did occur in the late 21st century. Number 5 is ragweed. Ragweed. And ragweed, guess what? It is dangerous. Dangerous. Ragweed is dangerous. A versatile weed that flourishes through the United States and across Europe. A single plant can produce 1 billion grains of pollen during one season. The pollen remains airborne for days and can travel several miles, affecting some 75% of allergy sufferers, creating cross allergies with foods that have similar proteins, including cantaloupe, banana, and watermelon. Fascinating. I actually have a light allergy to ragweed. So whenever I take my children on walks, I'm always struggling. Especially this time of the year, I'm struggling because ragweed's everywhere. It's everywhere in Minnesota. It's disgusting. Ragweed releases more pollen when the carbon dioxide levels are higher. So global warming will only make situations worse with ragweed because it's just going to continue to release more pollen and it's just going to drive everyone slowly more insane. So, thanks, ragweed. Love that. And number 6, our last wicked plant for this episode is coongrass. Coongrass is destructive. So the bright chartreuse blades grow about to be 4 feet tall, crowding out everything in their path. The edge of each blade is embedded with tiny silica crystals as sharp and serrated as the tooth of a saw. Yeah, their roots can travel more than 3 feet deep, producing barred rhizomes that pierce the roots of other plants and shoves them out of the way in a sinister quest for world domination. Some botanists expect that coongrass contains poison that kills its competition, but poison is hardly necessary. Coongrass' weapon of choice is fire. Thanks to its high flammability, it lures fires into its meadows and sets loose on the competition, encouraging it to burn hotter and brighter than it otherwise would. Just one spark from a power saw was enough to turn 8 acres in Orkla, Florida into fire just from this weed, from this grass. That's crazy. But like a phoenix rising from the ashes, fresh young colgan blades spring from the charred remains of the roots and grow stronger than ever. when fire isn't available, wind will do too. One plant disperses thousands of seeds up to 300 feet away. So that's a lot of wind power. That's crazy. Kogon grass was found its way here in the 1940s when the U.S. Department of Agriculture made the perplexing decision to plant it for erosion control as for grazing food for cows. Little did they know that this grass would be sharp enough to cut the cow's tongues and lips. It thrives in the southern United States, but it's very slowly making its way north. So, that was part 1 of my wicked plant chat. I guess you could call it my wicked plant index. No, just my wicked plant list. So we will see you for part 2. Come back. I have 6 more very exciting, destructive, wicked, spooky, scary plants that we will be talking about in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Feel free to leave a comment. Let me know if you are also allergic to ragweed or if you have been cut up by Kogon grass. Let me know. Leave a comment down below. Please subscribe. Join the plant family. We have lots of fun here. I have lots of very fun, exciting videos planned for Spooky October. So this is just a little taste of what we've got so far for this month. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. My handle is plant_Dreen. I'll put that right there for you and I'll leave it down below. So I will see you guys next time.